Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here, welcoming you to another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I am going to be reviewing Towers of Midnight, Book 13 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so excited. I finished it and straight up picked up A Memory of Light, the last book, because I just want to be rid of it. So, what we have is Book 13, published in 2010, straight to number one. I think it was the fourth or the fifth consecutive book in the series to hit the number one top best-selling list, whatever. Again, I don't understand. Please explain in the comments below. Why was that the case? So, trying to summarize, because there's a lot and nothing happening in this book. So, all our main characters are in different places, doing different things. So, we have Perrin has been traveling, he rescued his wife, Vale, a couple of books back. He's taking a long time to make his way back to meet with Rand. Along the way, he encounters the Children of Light, the White Cloaks. They don't like each other, they're about to fight each other. And do they know what's going to happen? There you go, that's Perrin's bit thing. So he gets delayed on the way to meet Rand. And is he going to fight the White Cloaks? The White Cloaks, is he not? There you go. On the other side, we have Wen, who is trying to figure out still who the Black Aja are after the attack on the tower by the Xianchang, etc., etc., etc. And Gawain, which is Elaine's brother, who loves her, does he not love her, want to be her warder, does he not, blah, 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 blah. And then, somewhere else, we got Matt. Matt is just doing things. Someone decides that Matt is the person to go and rescue Moraine. There you go. The guy that hated the Aes Sedai the most, the guy that didn't want to go anywhere near them or be any part of this, he's the one. I am gonna go and rescue Moraine. Issues with that, I'll elaborate later. And finally, we have Rand. What's Rand doing? Nothing really. In this book, Rand doesn't do much other than he's gone from emo Rand in the previous book to happy chappy Rand here. Everything is okay, Boy Scout Rand. Now, it's a long book. It is over 900 pages. And if this was a trilogy, which I guess maybe in a sense it was, because it was meant to be one book. Memory of Light was meant to be one book, but Brandon Sanderson got over it, split it in three. It suffers from middle book syndrome because in the previous book, in book 12, we were going towards the final battle. So where is the final battle? And here everyone is loitering around doing not a lot. So for instance, the Perrin arc is just a delay. Perrin, his whole confrontation or not with the White Cloaks was the point. What is really the point of that? Then, Gwen's story arc, as rewarding as it was in the previous book, this is totally, I think, a plot thread that it was a bit like a booger, right? You know when you get your boogers stuck in your fingers and you kind of flick it because it keeps on going to a different finger, you don't know how to get rid of it? That was Gwen's plot thread with the Black Aja. So she's been trying to figure out who the Black Aja are for books and books and books. In other books, we had some of the Aes Sedai investigating, torturing, doing this and that and the other, trying to figure out who the Black Aja are. How do we know who the Black Aja are? All of a sudden, Deus Ex Machina, flying UFO, a bit like Life of Brian. One of the Black Aja was not a black, but she wasn't. She was an infiltrated Black Aja. So out of nowhere, this lady comes and tells Gwen everyone that is a Black Aja, who they are, what they're doing. That's it. We've wasted a lot of time because flying UFOs in the Life of Brian. Then I also have issues with the Matt story arc. So, We lost Moiraine quite a few books back. She fell through a portal. Somehow, we figure out that she's in this place called the Tower of Genjai, or Genjai, however you pronounce it, right? Anyway, which is some sort of gate to another world inhabited by these kind of foxy looking, not foxy as in foxy, but foxes looking people, and snakes looking people, whose only purpose in this series is to grant you wishes or give you vital information in exchange for sacrifices that bear no consequences to the characters. Let me elaborate. So, a few books back, Matt needed crucial historical info, all these memories from past lives that made him become a great military leader, whatever. So they grant him that, and in exchange, they hang him from a tree. And he wakes up and he's hanging from a tree, and now he's got a little scar on his neck. That doesn't stop him from doing anything at all anymore throughout the series. So there's no consequences to that. So here, Matt and another couple of guys go back into this tower, which is a gateway to another dimension that, whatever, it hasn't come into play at all before. So they go, they rescue Moiraine, and consequences, but they take an eye out of Matt. They literally poke an eye out. But he was still walking, he was still running, still fighting. It's just, so what? He got what he wanted. And see, maybe perhaps in the last book there'll be consequences to Matt having lost one eye. I doubt it. Somehow maybe it's just going to make him look a bit more badass, a bit more Odin-like. But it was just, I don't know, some kind of oh, we need to bring Moiraine back to life for some reason. So this portal to another world inhabited by these other people that are only there to give us key information and wishes to move the plot forward, because I've written myself again into a corner. I need to get out of this. That's it. That's how I say it. And I could be wrong, or you could disagree with me, but let me know in the comments below. And then finally, we've got these Forsaken people, the 13 Forsaken Nazgul type creatures. They are the lieutenants of the Black Lord or whatever, who are absolutely useless. They get nothing done. They pose no threat to the main characters. They get killed every other book or so. And yeah, pretty, as antagonists go, as antagonists go, they're probably the lesser form of antagonist I've ever seen in a fantasy series. Ian from B&B Books channel, we've been doing the read along together. He pointed out quite a few books back. I hadn't clocked this until he mentioned it, but it makes perfect sense. One of his gripes with the series is that there's no clear defined antagonist. And I think he's right, because these people are useless. They might as well not be there, because they don't really do much. It's like exaggeration. I think you get the point that I'm trying to make here. They're not overly challenging for our main protagonists. And then my final thoughts on, the writing style from Sanderson is a lot better. I enjoyed it more, not necessarily better, but if you are into lengthy descriptions about the amount of lace in the cuffs of shirts, or if you're really into repetitive plunging female necklines and apple cherry blossom lips and all that kind of stuff, then Robert Jordan is your man. Luckily, Brandon Sanderson does not do that kind of crap. There was one lady in this book that crossed her arm under her breast, so hey, call back to Robert Jordan, because we didn't have any arms crossing under the breasts in the previous book, but we got one here. So maybe it was one of those copy-pastes moments when Sanderson was just taking the notes from Robert Jordan and just plugging it in this book. Yeah, that was it, really. Middle book syndrome, pretty forgettable. Nothing much happens. There's a lot of setup, and that's it. Totally forgettable, I think. Overall, a pretty pointless book. Yeah. So, like I said, I've gone straight into the next book because I want to be done with it. I just want to finish the Wheel of Time. review that book, do a bit of maybe of a general series overview. Perhaps maybe I've got another idea there. Hopefully there will be live discussion once we finish the series, Ian and I, and we've got not very nice things to say about this. But there you go. This is all I've got for today. As usual, thank you ever so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Take loads and loads of care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.